You know that feeling, right? You walk into an old house and there's a chill in the air that has nothing to do with the temperature. Or you hear a floorboard creak upstairs when you know you're alone. Tonight, we're not exactly looking for proof. We're stepping into the shadows, exploring those places where history feels so heavy it seems to have left an impression, a feeling, maybe even a ghost.
And really, that's exactly what we're going for in this explainer. We're not grabbing any ghost hunting gear. Instead, we're chasing a feeling. The source for our journey tonight argues that the real experience isn't about capturing evidence on a recorder. It's about letting a place just wash over you, letting it make you feel like you've slipped back in time.
Our journey begins, as so many of these stories do, in a place that's supposed to be the safest of all, home. This first one is a deeply personal account from our source material, a moment where the veil between worlds, well, it seemed to get impossibly thin.
So, picture this. It's an old family home, but it's fallen silent. Imagine how that feels. Our storyteller had spent years caring for his parents in these very rooms. But by October of 2018, the rooms were just filled with memories. The life they once held was gone.
And then, suddenly, it cuts through that silence. A smell. And it wasn't faint, Not something you could second guess. It was the powerful, unmistakable scent of his father's cologne, Aqua Velva, as if he were standing right there in the room with him.
Our source gives us this little detail, and I love it. It's the small, human, kind of funny touch that just makes the whole moment feel incredibly real. It wasn't just any random smell. It was his smell, the signature of his father's presence. Of course, he tried to rationalize it. He even laughed it off, thinking it was just his imagination playing tricks on him. But right as he settled down, the phone rang. It was the nursing home, and they told him to come right away. His father had just passed. That scent, it was a final goodbye.
Now, what's really fascinating here is that this experience wasn't some isolated incident. That scent was just the latest chapter in a family history that was deeply, deeply intertwined with the supernatural. And it all centered on this one house.
Yeah, this history with the unexplained didn't start with little creaks or bumps in the night. No, it began way earlier, before he was even 5 years old, with the sight of a full-bodied apparition. When he told his parents, they did what a lot of parents would do. They just brushed it off as a child's overactive imagination. But years later, the truth came out. His mother confessed that she'd seen the very same apparition. And you know what? So had her mother. His father never said a word about it, but he was just deeply afraid of the house. Even recently, guests have been so freaked out by their own experiences that they've refused to stay inside alone. This wasn't just one person's imagination. It was a shared generational secret. And this quote just says it all, doesn't it? It brilliantly sums up his perspective. He didn't go looking for ghost stories. He was basically born into one. This personal history, it grounds his whole exploration of the topic. It's not academic curiosity for him, it's lived experience.
So this deeply personal foundation, it brings up a much bigger question, one that really looms over every single ghost story. How in the world do we reconcile these powerful individual experiences with the strict rules of science?
It's not really a battle of right versus wrong. It's more of a conflict between two totally different ways of understanding reality. The scientists, they're bound by physical evidence and known laws of nature, but the storyteller, they operate in the realm of feeling, of possibility, of the great unknown. A haunted house, in that sense, doesn't give you answers. It just asks more questions.
So here's the crucial point. The argument being made is that certainty on either side of this debate is a form of arrogance. To just deny the sheer volume of stories and experiences from all over the world, across all of history, that's arrogant. But to turn around and claim you know exactly what ghosts are and how they work, that's just as arrogant. The real wisdom, maybe, is just admitting what we don't know.
Okay, so if we can't really define what ghosts are, maybe we can look at where they are. I mean, why do some places, certain towns, inns, and houses, seem to just collect stories like dust, becoming infamous for their hauntings? Well, according to our source, there's kind of like a recipe for a haunting. It starts with a lot of time, centuries of human life and death. Then you add a history of tragedy or some really intense emotion. Mix in a lingering sense of what our source calls ancestral guilt. And then you top it all off with the power of expectation. A place becomes haunted, at least partly, because we believe it should be.
Let's just take an example, Plymouth. It's one of America's oldest towns, but its 4 centuries of European history are built right on top of an even older tragedy. The land was once a Native American village called Patuxet, and its entire population was wiped out by disease. So when the pilgrims arrived, the ground was literally covered in bones. The ghost stories there basically started before the town was even built.
And then you've got a place like Salem. Is it actually haunted by the spirits of the 19 innocent people who were executed for witchcraft? Or is it haunted by something else? The memory of that injustice, a kind of psychic stain of guilt that's been passed down through the generations that we can still feel today. It really blurs the line between a supernatural haunting and a psychological one.
So this brings us to the final and maybe the most important question. Beyond the chills and the scary stories, why are we so drawn to all this? What is the fundamental human need that makes us want to believe in ghosts?
The power of a ghost story, it turns out, isn't really about the ghost itself. It's about us. Ghosts become a screen that we project our biggest questions onto. Questions about life and death and what might come after. They're a mystery that lets us explore our own beliefs.
At its very core, the belief in ghosts is often tied to this deep desire for meaning. It's a hope that there's more to our existence than just biology and physics. A hope that our consciousness, our self-awareness, is something special that might just survive the death of the body. A ghost, in a strange way, is kind of a comforting proof of that.
This ancient phrase, memento mori, was a really common sight on old colonial tombstones. It's a stark reminder of our own mortality. And perhaps, that's the real purpose of a ghost story. It's not about the dead at all. It's a message for the living.
And that's the thought I really want to leave you with tonight. If these tales, these feelings, these whispers from the past, if they all serve to remind us that our own time here is brief and precious, and they encourage us to live more fully, does it actually matter if the ghost in the attic is real? Or is the story itself the only thing that truly needs to be?